I would like to begin this webinar by talking a little bit about and what we do at And. So And is a one-of-a-kind design upskilling platform, and we enable successful career transformation through our courses in graphic design, interior design, and UX UI design. Most of our courses are part-time courses, and they are optimized for people who would want to work and learn together. And all of our courses are online, and we have designed these courses in a way that these are stackable courses. So you begin from a certificate and then you go on to earn your certification incrementally. So your learning starts at a certificate level, then you go on to pursue a diploma, and then you pursue a PG diploma. Another thing that we really focus at And is handpicking our faculty. So most of our faculty are industry leaders and industry practitioners, which means that they're not just into imparting design education, but they also have individual current relevant practices. So they're always abreast with what is going on in the design industry. And all of our courses have a very strong placement support system, which is through our career services team. So some of our courses come with a job guarantee, other courses come with a very strong placement support system. So wherever you get stuck in your placement processes, you can always reach out to a placement team, and they'll help you find the right recruiters for you, or they'll make you industry ready through so many other modules that we have in our career services division. Raj will be able to take you through the courses today. So today we're going to be following some hygiene checks for this webinar. It will be a 1 hour long webinar, and if you have any questions, just put it in the Q&A box. And while the presentation is going on, if you have any queries, just raise your hand, push the raise your hand button. But we'll be taking the Q&A at the end of the webinar. So meanwhile, if you have any questions during the webinar, please start putting them in the Q&A box, and we'll answer them towards the end of the webinar. This webinar is led by our course lead, Rahat Verma, and we are joined today by two of our wonderful And learners, but I would like to talk a little bit about Rahat. Rahat is an architect, a design educator, and a writer in architecture, interiors, and urbanism. She has over a decade's experience working on spatial design. Over the years, she has established a keen research interest in social design, urban sociology, and people networks and the city. She's completed her bachelor's in architecture from GGSIPU, New Delhi, and master's in architecture urban systems from the University of Calgary, Canada. She's currently pursuing her PhD from the Sushant University, Gurgaon. Over to you, Rahat. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Shubhangi. I know you've been slightly under the weather, and I really, really appreciate it to take the time out to be here to introduce me to a new bunch of interested candidates. I would actually quickly take this segue and also want to introduce our two students who are here with us. We have Monica Reddy, and she is a student with us from batch 3 who had enrolled for the certificate program. And then we have Mansha with us, who is also a batch 3 student and who is going on to do her her diploma. So what's interesting is through this webinar today, you'll get to see projects that both students were able to undertake, and you'll get to hear the honest opinion or the full truth of how we teach at and how it works, if it works. If it doesn't, it's going to be a really honest opinion. So our agenda for the webinar, as Shubhangi had already let us know, we're going to definitely be taking up question and answers, but towards the end of the session. So just be patient. We'll really want to get into your question and answers very soon. But we'll actually begin by understanding all about interior design. We look at the overview of the course that we offer at And. We look at industry opportunities for interior designers. And then, of course, we'll look at the student work as well. So, and I promise to try and wrap this up, so that we can get to the more interesting part of talking to you guys soon. So let me just really begin by trying to, explore or implore on the idea of what is interior design. Uh, Interior design is all about transforming spaces through design. It deals with a semiotic relationship between the human and the environment. We talk about trying to utilize every square foot of space, when we are designing, because we do understand that as a resource, land is always in scarcity. We try and create aesthetic and pleasing functional interior spaces. For me here, the key word is going to be functional. We at AND really focus on creating these functional spaces that cater to needs of the client, and we'll teach you how to do all of this through various exercises and existing frameworks we've been able to develop over the years. Interior designers essentially visualize, plan, and design interior spaces through ideation, experimentation, and application. If I move on. It's very interesting, but we very often get this question of what is the difference between interior designing, styling, and decoration. And these three terms you will see being thrown around a lot once you start working in the professional market. It is important to know what is the difference. So for me, the first thing I could think of is putting all three definitions on a single slide and getting you guys to understand them better. So interior design is basically the art and science of understanding people behavior to create functional spaces, right? So you're going to be designing spaces for a fixed person, people, public, and it is important to understand these cannot be generic solutions. So you're looking at customization and solutions. When we discuss styling, styling is more about understanding or enhancing the aesthetics of a room. Also the functionality of spaces. The biggest clause here is you are not allowed to alter structure or civil work. So essentially no subtractions or additions can be made within space. It's all about just styling it, right? And eventually interior decoration is all about the furniture you can add to the space. Here, your design skills are not so much in play, but you'll be looking at things more like a curator. So imagine you have to decorate a space with existing lines that are available in the market. Essentially, an interior designer can definitely style and decorate, but a decorator cannot style and interior design. So everything is a linear process. As a stylist, you can style and decorate, and as a decorator, you can only purely decorate. What becomes interesting is, very often we like to define this as interior styling or decoration is all about dressing up a room. So there is a space that is given to you, and it's all about making it look really smart, really suave, and very quickly. Here you'll be working a lot with, upholsteries, finishing, accessories. It is definitely a task on its own. But what becomes interesting as a designer is you get to play with interplay of the relation of a human being and space a lot more. It's also important here to acknowledge the role of an architect. And I would like to put in right here, like I mentioned it, that architects are trained in the art and science of building design. So essentially, everything in terms of wall, columns, this placement and how it is done and how these spaces are carved out is truly an architect's job. And everything within then lies for an interior designer. At AND, we have consciously tried to establish this really clearly, that we understand that design is definitely greater than software. So we teach you software that are inbuilt into your course, but you cannot become a designer by just knowing a software. It's like saying, I know how to use a calculator and I'm a CA. It doesn't work like that. So a software is only going to aid you in achieving what you need to design. But how do you think about design becomes really important for us. And that is something we really want to work towards as a larger agenda in the design fraternity. So a designer wears multiple hats. When I say that, I also mean like a designer is not always just, designing things. He's a researcher. They can be planners. They project plan. So you plan what stage has to happen first. You will conduct research of how something needs to be designed or built. You'll also be an enthusiastic learner. So you'll always have to, with the current way how things are, we have so many inventions happening in material, in technology. Buildings or homes are no longer made like they used to be. So all of that starts making a difference. You'll have to always be a learner, an agile thinker. You have to be a maker. When I say a maker, means you'll have to get into the sandpit of it and start working with your hands. Till the time an idea is in your head, it cannot be explained or projected to a client. So it's very essential that we start creating prototypes and creating these visuals that we can show to clients. And at the very base of it all, we need to be thinkers. We need to be logical, creative, and imaginative. If we ever propose a solution that is already out there, it's going to be a very copy and paste method. So essentially, then you're not a designer. You are just going to be a stylist or a decorator, right? So for us, the thinker aspect becomes really important at hand. Again, here is something we always want to talk about it as a designer. What one must know. So you must understand visual design, which means everything from color, composition, grids. How does it work? How does it translate into 3D form? Especially because interior design is an aspect where you need to think in 3D. A lot of us are not trained, or our brain isn't trained to naturally think in the third dimension, because our entire life we worked very much in 2D. We need to understand how can we satisfy our client needs, or our customers needs. So another really interesting thing is, very often clients are unable to articulate what they want. They'll come up with sample pictures and say, hey, make something like this for us. As a good designer, it's our job to try and understand why are they trying to create that, what is the need that they have, that is making them want to make a home that looks like this, right? Of course, there is a whole thing known as the design process, which we must undertake before we, give out a solution. And this is where the idea generation happens. So you start creating options for clients. You start looking at what can be done with the space. Eventually, we'll obviously need tech for production, which is the software or the digital part of it. And there are two ways of looking at production. For example, if I'm looking at a piece of furniture I need to produce for a client, I also need to understand how am I going to design it? What is the raw material available? How am I going to, how do I source the raw material? What is the size of the wood I'm going to get? How am I going to chisel it, carve it, get it to fit into this furniture piece? And at the end of it all is effective communication, which basically means I can be the best designer in the world, but if I cannot communicate with my client, if I cannot communicate with somebody in front of me of what I'm doing, why am I doing, and why is this the best solution for them, your entire design could be the best design in the world, but it's going to fail because you will not be able to convince your client of, accepting your design proposal. This is a phase where we start understanding the future of interior design and what kind of projects can you do as an interior designer. It is really important before you sign up for a course to understand what can you expect to do, right, after you finish the course. So the most basic way of looking at things is you can start by doing home interiors. Today, the projects you're going to see are going to be home interior projects. And the work you will see from the students actually is at the end of 16 weeks, which is not that much time in your life. And you'll get to see how much they've learned, over the 16 weeks and what they could produce. So this is the most basic kind of, spaces you can begin with designing. Of course, you could then end up doing cafes and restaurants. This becomes more commercial. You start looking at a lot more people within the same space and setting. We can work with hospitality. This can be, cafes, bars as well. Office and workspace, especially post-pandemic, we've seen a rise in, once again, office interiors, which means people are going back to work. They want workspaces which are a lot more different than they were, probably like the base system we used to have back in the day. So this is another interesting thing. Retail is also finally picking up again, which means you can start designing interiors for studios or shops. And this is really interesting because here, the idea is to highlight the product. So all of a sudden, all your ideas of creating good design is about highlighting another product. Pop-up stores. This is a relatively new genre, if you'll notice. You'll see this a lot at airports or in malls where, there's these small pop-up things that happen. These are almost like temporary in nature, temporal, because they can be built up overnight and then taken down. The idea of this also is basically to get people's attention within central congregation spaces where people collect. Of course, there is this, the store window display, which is very popular with leading brands and with retail really now at a boom in India. This is really picking up. The new type that has been very exciting of late is design aided sales, which is basically for e-commerce. For example, if you go to an IKEA, you can actually go into an IKEA store, you can measure out your room, and they will help you design the space for you based on the products that they have. So this is basically, again, helps in product sale. Not only IKEA, you can also go into leading brands, whether they're hardware, whether it is fixtures. Here are a couple of examples of, a Jaguar showroom where you end up doing these nooks and corners of how possibly you could set up their fixtures within a bathroom space. Of course, then this can also lead into a pottery barn or a home lane, where products are, you can buy these products individually, or you can help a client imagine the space with all the products that you have to offer or align. And this is again something which is now becoming very popular. Live Space, Pepper Fry, all of these brands do, really advocate for design aided sales. It is also important to understand what an interior designer cannot do. So in the very beginning, if you remember, we spoke about how an interior designer essentially is not allowed to move anything of the civil construction, which means if as a designer tomorrow you want to come in and knock down a wall, make a hole in the wall, break down a column, you really need to get an architect and a civil engineer on board, because this is something that an architect or an engineer will help you understand that what can be broken within space. And it is best if you, understand this as a constraint and work with it. It is very important to understand that constraints help us design better. And I would never recommend that you go into a space trying to, overestimating what you can do with it. You'll be able to provide more realistic solutions. What is interesting is, what skills and knowledge set does an interior designer need? Now, this is something that we've been able to plot, over the so many batches we've taken, that we really want to focus on the idea of spatial planning, the idea of emotional needs and functional needs together. How do you understand a client? What are themes in general? How do you help a client visualize a theme? How do you help in selection of material, fixture, furniture? When you prepare a drawing set, it needs to have complete layout, dimensioning, and this is what's going to help you further on build it in real life. How do you prepare a BOQ? And costing a BOQ is called a bill of quantities, which essentially is the list of all the items you have used to, make your design come to reality. And how much does it cost? So it's going to help you even understand how do you cost a project. And of course, the most important part is every design, program is going to work with a lot of collaborating with various vendors. So as a designer, you can design something, but till the time you don't know how will you go and build it and who will help you build it, it's pretty much not going to be successful, because you'll never know how will it turn up on site. So eventually design communication and vendor management is a very big part at how we would like to focus our teaching in IIAD. I'm now quickly going to jump in and ask Monica. Actually, before we do that, I'll also like to show you what we do in our first module. So our first module is a very basic module where we start looking at things like, this is where we start, and this is for everybody to understand that it's really simple. We don't do a lot of complex stuff. We start with just understanding how do lines and dots work. Then we start looking at how do you start thinking in 3 dimension. We work with the principles, elements, and visual orders of design. We start looking at activity mapping. All of this is taught to you within the first 8 weeks of your course. And we've realized that it really, really works for us. 1 second. Yeah. So this is something we'll be helping you with. Eventually, we'll jump into the science of ergonomics and anthropometrics, which is basically understanding human sizing and how one designs for a single user versus multiple users. How do you design for a given constraint in space? We look at the color theory. We look at how, certain colors help us establish the emotional quotient of a space. We also look at a lighting assignment where we start understanding the same composition or the same light settings. This helps us understand when you're designing a room, how does light play such an important role? And the same space with different kinds of or colors of light will affect how the space looks. This is a software training where it begins in module 1. We use a software called Kuhum. We'll teach all of you to draft out your bedroom within module 1, and we'll get you to redesign it as well. And after this, you jump into your residential project essentially. So if we can have Monica now.
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I'm C. Monica Reddy from Hyderabad, and I'm a civil engineering graduate. So this is my project. It's called Project Serene. And my clients are my aunt and her 2 kids. So this is the introduction. Okay, so they wanted, so their client brief was that they wanted a really peaceful, simple, and a calm space. And they specifically mentioned that they didn't want any much clutter or storage in their space and just wanted a bedroom and a seating area, that is the sofa, to be visible when anyone enters the room. So that was their brief. And these are the images of their bedroom. So this is how it is. So they wanted the clutter problem. They wanted good storage, but also didn't want it to be so much that it looks cluttered. And their space was quite big. So we wanted to solve that problem. And these are the people who live in their house, who use the bedroom and who sleep in the bedroom. And yeah, so then we divided what are the wants and needs of the clients and their likes and dislikes. So this is their whole house. This is their flat. And the one highlighted is the one that we have designed. So this is their bedroom. Yeah, so then we have taken all the requirements and given the details like what they want in their bedroom. And then we have achieved it through our design. Next page. Yeah, so these are the functional and emotional needs of the client. So basically, emotional needs are something that you connect to and that evokes an emotion in you. It may be anything. It may be a furniture or texture or color. And functional needs is something that makes your day-to-day life easy in terms of being very functional, useful, and also making the space pretty comfortable to be in. So these are the mood boards that I have designed. So we are supposed to design 3 mood boards for the client to choose from. So these are the 3 mood boards that I have designed. Yeah. So this is the one that has been approved by the client. And the next what we have done is layouts. So we have arranged all the furniture in a way that makes the whole room comfortable. And then we have done 4 layouts in it. And we have seen what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. So this is the Vastu compliant one. So we have learned Vastu in one class and then we have done this. So this is the final approved layout. Yeah. So these are the elevations. And then we have given, I have given 3 color options in the same color tone. So the final one is the color option 3. So this we have done in Kuhum. Yeah, and then we have given 3 light options for them to choose from. In this, we have we have used a cobe lighting and a track light, and we have just seen what can be changed. We also tried changing the temperature of the light. Yeah, so this is the final approved light option. So we have given an LED strip light here, and we have added a pendant lighting, a track light, a spotlight here. So this is the lighting of the bathroom. We have kept it simple. So these are the surface material and finishes. In this, we have selected, I have mainly focused on the flooring and the back panel to see what options I can put in, and I have just played with it and showed them the 3 options that I have done. So the third one is the approved one. And these are the furniture finishing. So even in this, I have selected 2 options. So I've tried changing the sofa, the wardrobe. And this is the call out sheet where we have, where I have put in all the finalized selected material. Yeah. So in the end, we have made a table, a call out sheet where we have given all the requirements, all the specifications about the paint, whether it be paint, texture, furniture, and then we have also, I have also mentioned where we can source it from. Yeah, so we have done this for both bedroom and bathroom. And the end is client's feedback. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Now, really quickly, we're going to jump into Mansha's project.
Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, Mansha.
Hi, so my name is Mansha, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's degree and doing this. So my project is called Guitars and Gills, and this is the table of contents. And so here I had just listed my client's bio, like who he is, what his age is, who he lives with. So my client is basically my cousin, Mihar Verma, and he lives in an apartment on the 13th floor, and he lives with his family consisting of his sister and his parents and grandparents. And after that, I briefly mentioned a background on what he likes and what he dislikes. So after bifurcating, when asked like how he wanted his room, he mentioned he wanted this dark theme room with gold accents, mixture of woods, wanted a study table. Then I mentioned what all he wanted in his washrooms and what all he likes. Like he wanted a specific place to hang his guitar. He wanted a musical vibe to his room. And after that, here I have again bifurcated his likes and dislikes into requirements, preferences, and actions taken according to what his requirements and preferences were. Then I prepared a list of all the questions and suggestions I wanted to give to him and ask him. After this, I prepared a rough layout and then what do you call it? Then I prepared a layout on the software for his house and then for his room. Then, yes, then like Monica said, what functional and emotion needs are, and you will also learn. We had to bifurcate everything we wanted in his room into function and emotion needs so that it's accessible and also matches with what the client wants. Next page. So here I had prepared 3 options for the mood board. So this was the first one, which was a mix of pop and mid-century modern style. The next one was, this one was the approved one. This was a mixture of minimalism and modern contemporary. And the next mood board was a mix of classic luxury and Hollywood Regency. So after that, we had to prepare 3 different options for layout. So this was the first one after, for which we had to do a SWOT analysis of what the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats were for the layout. Then this was the second one. This one was the one he approved. Then the third, then this was the third one, and this one was the one according to the Vastu rules. After this, this one was the approved layout. So after this, we had to mention the annotations as to what height every object is at. After this, I had given 3 color options. because he wanted a dark theme room. So this one was the first one. This is the second one. And the third one. So he had approved the first one, the black and golden one. Yes, this one was the and this one was the washroom. Then after this, I just made some modifications to the room because the room was getting too dark, and you have to sometimes consider where the client is. So he lived in north of India, and can experience very extreme temperatures. So I had to balance the color palette. So we changed the half black walls to full beige walls. Then here, this was the lighting options. This was the first one. Here I changed the type of lights and the temperature of the lights. Then after this one was the third one. So he had chosen the first one, but with the third this thing's temperature. After this, I just shown him how the room would look in natural lighting with no lights on during the morning and noon. Then I just given him options for wallpapers and flooring if you wanted to change. So this one was the first option where I gave this geometric sort of wallpaper with brown flooring. This one was the second one with the plain black wallpaper and wooden flooring. And the third option one was this dark gray one with light brown flooring. After this, after this, I'd mentioned all the changes made. So we added switchboards, we added a soft board, we added dustbins, everything according. Then I added towel rack, hand towel rack, storage cabinets, toilet cabinets, blinds. Then these were the furniture options. This one was the first one. Then this one was the approved one. This is again the furniture option which he chose. After this, I changed the furniture options a little bit. The TV cabinet, the study table. Then after this, these were the second set of options. And these were the third set of furniture options I suggested. And after this, on the chosen set of furniture, I tried on 3 sets of different materials and textures. So this was the first set of material and texture, which you later on approved also. This one was the second set of materials and textures. And this was the third set of materials and textures. And after this, these were the final renders of how the room actually looked. And then at the end, I just made a call out sheet of where we can source each and every item of the room from. And this one was for the washroom. And at the end, we had a feedback from the client. Thank you.
Thank you, Mansha. What I'm going to quickly jump into is just the presentation and show you a little bit more about what we have ahead. Now, just so you understand, give me a second. Yeah. So it's important, if you have any questions, start putting them in the Q&A box. We are closing towards the end of our presentation. So what you'll see in today is basically what our students have been able to achieve after 18 weeks. It's the certificate level. Mansha continues to move on to the diploma, while Monica, life happens and Monica is choosing to exit at the certificate. So the way our courses are stacked at IIAD is that we give you various points of exit. You can complete 18 weeks with us, or you can do, and after doing the 18 weeks, you can do another 16 weeks to get a diploma. Within the next 16 weeks, you'll learn a little about CAD, and you'll end up attempting a commercial project. If you want to further move ahead and get a PG diploma, you can do the last 16 weeks with us, in which we'll teach you SketchUp, and you'll end up doing a boutique interior design project. What is interesting is that, as I said, you can always come back to our courses at any time. We do suggest that you enroll, and if you are interested, you continue till as far as you can. But very often life happens along the way. There'll be commitments you'll have to take up. It also is a part-time course, which means we'll have to be meeting 2 times a week in the evenings from 7:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. We are very strict with our timings, and we do not, encourage people to join late it is compulsory to join from your laptop and have a working session. You only get attendance based on the fact that you sit for those 3 hours and you take part in whatever class activity we give you. Of course, this also makes it a very daunting commitment for you to commit to completing the PG diploma. But as I said, you can always exit at these various levels and come back to us. When we say it's a part-time course, we do say it's a 2-day a week, you'll have classes, but you will have to work on the other days that you don't have class. What AND Academy actually stands for, or is setting out to help us achieve, is learn and work at the same time. We have designed real world design problems. So which means these are the typologies you'll be addressing once you go into the field. You'll also notice that our human support and technology as an arm or as a wing works beautifully for us, because we are able to actually support all the design decision making with a lot of support as well as tech that we've been able to enable at our end. When we teach, we definitely go beyond software. You have already seen what we do with our fundamentals. You've noticed our courses are stackable. Of course, the career development and service support exists for our ID, as a stream. We also really emphasize on learning by doing. It's not like a webinar, like today's session is a webinar where we are talking and you are listening. But once you start, if you choose to join us, you'll have to work with us. The only reason we've been able to churn out the quality of work you can see is because our students are very, very involved and engrossed in, how we really want to design the output. But they also follow a process that has been designed. So we'll have industry practitioners come in and mentor you in between. We'll have you'll get to interact with your mentors and your peers. You'll also get constant feedback. Now, feedback will only work if you choose to improve on it, right? Otherwise, it becomes a little redundant. You'll just hear us talk. Questions we get a lot are, who is this course honestly for? So the course is for basically anybody. You do not need to essentially have a design background. We very often do get inquiries from people who have allied design backgrounds, which means people from the fashion, textile, or graphics industry. Knowing design, or previously being educated in the stream helps. But as I said, if you look at the way we've stacked our course, you will end up learning with us. And there's a lot of unlearning you might have to take place if you already are a design professional. It's also meant for people who are in the allied fields like real estate, civil engineers, structural engineers, contractors, draftsmen, 3D visualizers. And why do we say that is because these all are also in very close proximity to what interior designers do. So you'll understand the method and the process a little easier. You can be a student, a working professional, or somebody on a career break. The way we help you learn is we don't have a bias based on what you existingly know. We just help you build on it. I'm going to actually leave the screen up for about 2 minutes, and you guys can think of questions in the meantime. This is what your entire course, is going to look like. You can either join the certificate, diploma, or PG diploma. We've given you how long each course is. We've also been able to mention your, very often we get questions on fee. This is something which is available on our website, and we highly encourage students to, view our website and come to us because we are very active on updating it as well. We've also mentioned the 2 days that you have evening classes. And of course, we have other courses as well, like graphic design and UX and UI. So yeah, if there are any questions, we'll be happy to jump into that segment as well. I'm going to leave this up. Shubhangi, can I start answering questions?
Yeah, I see only one question.
Yeah. So we have Komal who's asked us, we won't be learning a software and certificate course. Komal, you did just see somebody from the certificate course. So whatever you saw is on a software called Kuhum, and you will be taught that software.
If anybody else has any questions, I would request them to put it in the Q&A box so that we can take them. Sati Lakshmi Chandra is raising their hand. Sati, if you have any question, please put it in the Q&A box.
I'd also like to thank all of you for being so patient and staying back. You know, we had promised to wrap up in an hour. So yeah, it's great to see, you know, people listening so patiently. And if there's anything we can help you with, we're around.
Are there no questions, Rahat?
That's going to be a first, you know.
This is the first. We've aced this webinar to the point that people do not have any question. Oh, there is one question. Sheikh is asking, may I know from when is the actual session starting? So we've just closed the batch in July. Next batch will start somewhere in October, November.
Yeah, I've done one online course on interior design. What do you suggest me to do a diploma or start with a certificate course again? So Komal, if you've noticed how it is stacked, is you will have to complete the certificate to then go on to do your diploma. It completely depends because I haven't talked to you. I don't know where you're from, any background about you. The easiest suggestion I'll have is, I'll say is enroll for the certificate. If you like what you do, roll on to the diploma. If you think it's getting too hectic, you can exit with the certificate. But essentially, this is how we break the course up. And that is the advantage for everybody, right? Like you can start with the certificate, complete your diploma in one go, or if you think that it is getting a little too hectic, you can take a break and come back to us as well. So there is no right way. I think the only thing that will change is the way you can stagger your fee. So again, it depends on your spending capacity as well when you're choosing a part-time course. Other than that, I don't know if I have helped you answer that question.
Sati has another question. So at the end of the certificate program, we will be doing a real-time project.
Yes. So the last 10 weeks actually, Sati, is a real-time project where if you've noticed, both our students actually went out into the real world, found themselves clients and did this project in real time. If we've had like a lot of students who've actually been able to convert this into, where they've been funded to do this project from batch 1 as well as batch 2. The designs that were proposed were so great that the clients wanted them to actually build it on site. So yes, it does in a way prepare you to do a real-time project.
Yeah. Vishal is asking, there are some AI tools used in the markets. How are we going to compete with them in the future?
So Vishal, I think the future lies with understanding how to prompt an AI tool. So what you are essentially also going to be is being able to learn how to understand a client's mind and create a prompt. Design thinking is imperative because it helps you, come to a point where you understand the client. Till the time you don't know what your AI prompt is going to be, you can be ending up, churning out gibberish. So Kuhum as a software as well is AI enabled. And it really helps us. And if you notice, this has all been able to be achieved within 18 weeks. So yeah, you will be able to, I'm convinced you'll be able to prompt better if you understand how design thinking works and how do you understand a client.
Faizan is asking, hello Rahat. I just wanted to know about the course structure and what about after getting the diploma? I am a graphic designer and I'm doing my BA now. So I want to know more about the course and support from the faculty.
All right. So the course structure I've already shown you. We start with a certificate, roll on into a diploma, and further roll on into a PG diploma. Given that you already are a graphic designer and you have done your BA, you are eligible for the postgraduate diploma. In terms of what you design, also, if you've gone through the webinar carefully, but I'll repeat it for you. The first, in the certificate course, you'll be learning fundamentals of design and do a residential project. In the second leg where you start looking at module 3 and 4, we'll teach you how to learn CAD, how to learn buildability, construction on site drawings. We'll also teach you a little bit about history and timelines of interior design. And in the next module, you'll do a commercial design project. And if you choose to do your PG diploma, you'll learn a software called SketchUp. and in the end, you'll do a boutique project. So you learn how to do customizations and design detailed furnitures. So that is how it is stacked. Um, in terms of support from faculty, I would actually want to ask Mansha to answer this question because she'll be able to answer this really well. Mansha, how do you think your faculty supported you during this time?
I think the best part about this course is the faculty. And yeah, I think the faculty and the feedback you get from Rahat ma'am, from all your mentors, and from all the jury who will be assessing your work, I think that uh, really helps give you insights about how you can better your work. And yeah, I
Monica,
think the
would you
faculty
agree?
is the best part.
Monica, would you agree? Do you want to have a difference of opinion?
I agree, ma'am. I agree.
So yeah, Faizan, I'm just happy that I have students here. I hate, blowing my own trumpet or for my institute. So yeah, we do have a lot of students who vouch for the amount of support we'll be able to offer you.
Yeah. Kanchan is asking, may I know when will classes start? So Kanchan classes will start somewhere around October end or November. So I would recommend that you apply now. Oh, on that note, I would also like to share with everybody on call right now that we're currently offering an up to 20% scholarship. So if you apply before 15th of August, you'll be eligible, you'll be considered for the scholarship. So please, if you're really wanting to apply for the interior design course, I would recommend that's the right time to apply. Bharat is asking, when we move on from certificate to diploma, will that cost 60K or plus 1.2? Yeah, so it's 60 for the certificate, then plus 60 for the diploma, and another plus 60 for the PG diploma. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much, Shubhangi. This is one question I never know, about how fees is broken up. We are so stuck on the academic side of things.
Somebody is asking about fresher civil engineer. Would I be able to apply the knowledge and experience of civil engineering in interior design without wasting the gained knowledge? Would I be able to integrate both the education to my work field?
So I'm going to ask Monica to answer this question because I believe even she is a civil engineer. Correct, Monica?
Yes, ma'am. I am. I graduated last year. So I think it helps you, not completely, but it does help you because we study so much about columns, pillars, foundation, like in depth. We completely study how to build it. So I think it's going to be a really good use when you're designing the space. So you know what to touch, what not to touch. Like that'll be a really good start for you. Like if the beam is correct, and I mean, if a pillar or a wall, if you want to break, like ma'am said, like you will have a basic idea if whether you can do it or not. And also we learn AutoCAD in civil engineering, so that is an added advantage. And with that, we also study measurements, we study feet, inches, everything. So that'll be a really good help here. And rest, I mean, materials, we study basic materials, but it'll be a good start. Like we'll have an idea of what we are doing. But interior is a bit different, I mean, creatively. But yeah, still, it's going to help you a bit.
All
Great.
right. Thank you, Monica.
See that Monica is around because this is a doubt that we have on a recurring basis, and now we have Monica to answer all of the civil engineering questions. Great, moving on. Catherine is asking, will there be any in-person interactions with the mentor if we have any doubts?
Yes, Catherine, all interactions will always have a mentor. You will always have access to your mentors 2 days a week when you have class. If you want another, follow-up question or any doubts, you can book for appointments as well. And we do not give you any kind of recorded information from a mentor. So it's always an appointment by, meeting. So it's a meeting that you'll have to set up with your mentors if you want to meet them. And we always make time for our students. That is something we are very cautious about.
Great. Jasna is asking, are room size line drawings done on Cahoom or AutoCAD?
So everything you've seen today is done in Kuhum. We will be teaching you AutoCAD in the next, which is the diploma course. And of course, if you join us for another session, we'll be able to showcase some of the work that we do in the diploma as well. Just the quality, the richness of information in those drawings will change. But what you've seen today is all Kuhum.
Yeah, I think we have already answered Munesh's question. Faizan is saying, my first language is not English, but my mother tongue is Bengali. Is this course session taken through online? So all of our courses are online, but I think you need to have a working understanding of the English language because our medium is English. Rahat, would you like to add something to that?
The same thing, Faizan, the reason we actually try and keep one common language in class is we have students from all over India, often international as well. And you have to work in groups, you'll be made to do small time problems together and you'll have to talk and discuss with them. If language becomes a barrier, it becomes hard for us to ensure we'll have another Bengali speaking person in the group. It might be easy for us to find a faculty who can speak Bengali, but to find, students in a cohort or in your section might be difficult. So right now we are sticking to English as a mandate.
Yeah. Jagan is asking, I have completed architecture engineering in ICE. Am I eligible for a PG diploma?
So Jagan, you'll have to tell me how long was your architectural engineering degree for? Is it a degree? Is it a diploma? And based on that, we'll be able to help you with this.
Yeah. I would recommend that you apply or get in touch with one of our course counselors, and through them, you'll be able to sort of interface with our faculty who will be able to guide you better. So don't wait, apply. Faizan is saying again, my first language is not English. Would that affect my placement or my classes?
The problem is if you're not fluent in English or even just broken English, it's going to be hard for us to approve you as an admission candidate as well. Because I said you need to work very closely in groups and pairs. There's a lot of collaboration that this design process requires, right? So English is a mandate we are a little stickler for at this stage.
Somebody is asking, at the end of this program, do we need to find the client for our project on our own?
So yes, if you've noticed, Monica and Mansha were able to find clients with an extended family. And the reason we ask you to do it is because, everybody's in a different city. And we want you to, we'll give you a complete framework you will use to discuss your project with your client. But you need to be able to go to your client's house, let's say once a week. Or at least once in 2 weeks, you need to show them options. They need to approve stuff for you, right? So let's say if today you're in Delhi and I give you a client from Bombay, it's not going to work. So we suggest you find your own client in your local city. We also work with a demo client throughout the project, which is only meant for the purpose of in-class activity.
Somebody is asking, what is the total strength of the class?
Again, it differs from batch to batch, to be really honest. We began, I think, really small, if I'm not wrong. We began with a cohort of about 8 learners, and we've been growing ever since. My current batch right now is at 34, I think 34 students in our batch for batch 4. But yeah, it differs. If the number goes up, we definitely have plans to break into different sections as well. So you don't need to worry about student is to faculty ratio. But we have run cohorts ranging from sizes really small to medium.
Yeah,
and of course, if it's a little medium-sized batch, you'll have 2 faculties in your session. So you don't need to worry about that as well.
Yeah, I think we've reached the end of the question and answer session. If you have any other question, I would recommend that you put it in the Q&A box right now. I don't think we have any. Rahat, we've closed.
This is amazing. Oh, wow, we got one more.
Oh, we have one more. Okay. Sheikh is asking, hi Rahat, I just wanted to know about the eligibility as I already have an experience as a banker for 11 years. And currently I do have a business based out of Bangalore for interior designs and real estate. So I just wanted to know, profession is okay to get into the classes, right?
No, the profession is okay to get into the classes. See, it's what I would suggest, as I said, is we've had people with very diverse backgrounds, probably with like even 25 years of experience, sign up for our course, complete it. So I don't think you should carry the baggage of what you've done in the past. It's only going to add, giving you a banker. I'm guessing your client skills are going to be brilliant. You'll be able to negotiate with the client really well. It will help you. And in terms of a career switch, eventually it also becomes, if there is this innate entrepreneurial gene you have in how you think and how you work, it might help you set up your own practice. And I think that's always great if you're already working in the interior design and real estate space.
Somebody else is asking, I am not from a design background. Will I be able to manage this course?
Yes, absolutely. Mancha is not from a design background, and I think her work was spectacular based on that. Mancha, if you want to tell them what your background is.
Oh yeah, I'm actually a BSc student doing mathematics. So this is totally different for me. And it's not easy. I just say this. It's not easy to manage college, like whatever you're doing and this course, because there are deadlines and you have to finish the work by then. But then, I mean, it's manageable, but you have to be consistent and regular with it. And I will just give one advice, uh, if I may.
Of
If-
course.
all of us, like all of you all who really want to be a designer and you want to, you're applying to this course, just please ask a lot of questions to your teachers, because that is the only way you will really be able to utilize whatever you're learning. Because there were a lot of times when Rahat ma'am used to ask, are there any questions? Are there any questions? And nobody used to ask anything. But yeah, this was just like a small regret, I think. I would have done, ask many more questions. Even if you don't have questions, make more questions, study more and ask more questions. It will be better for you. Yeah.
Don't worry, Mancha, you're still in the system, so you can still
Yes.
reach out
I'm
and
going to
ask.
trouble you more now.
But that's very true advice that rings true for most design courses, I would say, that you should be very curious and you should ask questions. Okay, Monesh is asking, what is the current demand to availability ratio of interior designers in India? What would be the average pay scale for one who's proficient in the field?
So Manish, what I'm going to actually ask you to do is attend one of our career services webinars. This is the metrics and everything you want to know they'll have on their fingertips. A. B, they'll be able to help you understand the brands that we can place you under a lot more better. I personally am a trained architect and an urban designer. I have about 13 plus 15 years of experience. The pay scales even we get for professional projects vary. It's very often based on the spending capacity of your client. No design comes at a set cost. It is something you will have to build a brand and establish. So it's going to be very premature for me without seeing your work, without being able to, give you a true, honest judgment. What is the tier of the city you belong to? What kind of work are you aiming to do? What kind of clients do you intend to find? All of that will, definitely affect the amount of money you can ask for. Your asking price will change based on where you are based out of. But yeah, we do have a couple of those, right, Shubhangi, coming up?
Yeah. We will. So we have another masterclass, I would say career webinar. We have a masterclass coming up in the month of August only, but in the coming month, we might just have a careers webinar. So that I'm sure you'll get the invite, but for sure attend that and ask all of your career related questions there. And also we have a very dedicated career section on our website. So if you haven't checked out our website, please do that. So check out our website. And if you haven't reached out to course counselors, do that as well. So any and every medium that you can find information about and careers at and, please just go ahead and check it out. Yeah, I would advise that. Tentative date, month of commencement of the class and the end of the class. So the courses will begin in October, late October, November. I think we've discussed this. Faizan says, thank you, Faizan. I would recommend that you get in touch with the course counselors. There are some questions that you have, so they will be able to guide you in much greater depth.
Also, if I can just add in, Shubhangi here, Faizan, most questions we are able to solve online. In fact, the work you've seen everything's happened online. We use a couple of great interactive online platforms that allow us to, work in real time with each other. There'll be a digital whiteboard available to you. We'll be able to give you feedback, right? Definitely video conferencing is another tool we use to explain to you. So don't worry about how is it that we're going to teach you. Be rest assured that we figured that out for you. Just worry about how will you make the time to learn and what is the course that you want to apply for.
Yeah. That's it. I think that's it from my side. We don't have any more questions. Yeah, I guess thank you for taking out the time to attend this webinar. I would like to thank Rahat. That was a great presentation. I would like to thank our wonderful learners, Monica and Mansha, for joining us and taking us through their work. It's always good. It's always amazing to have a face-to-face interaction with the students and get to see more and more work. That always makes me happy. So yeah. On that note, thank you, everybody. Oh, we have one more question. Okay, Faizan says thank you. Cool. On that note, bye-bye. Thank you. Good night. Would you like to add something?
So thank you so much, Shubhangi. And thank you, Monica. Thank you, Mansha. Thank you, Tavleen, for joining us today. And thank you, everybody who stuck, who stayed back to hear, if not your answers, somebody else's. We look forward to seeing you soon, hopefully. And all the very best. Have a lovely Wednesday evening.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.